When, out of nowhere, Sakura just starts skipping classes and disappearing, the gang decides to go after him to understand what's going on, but they barely know that what they're about to discover will leave them completely disturbed. If you're new to the channel, subscribe now so you don't miss the next videos, and let's understand what this maniac kid is hiding from everyone. Anzai is chilling there chatting with the guys, and Nirei says he even seems a bit more cheerful. Then Anzai asks about Sakura, but Nirei says he's gone missing, ignoring messages. Since Sakura doesn't show up at school, the crew gets worried, wondering what went down after the fight. Nirei then decides to call him, and everyone cheers when he answers. But Sakura hangs up out of nowhere, leaving the guys clueless. And then Nirei thinks he's just sick. So his two vice representatives, Nirei and Suo, go to Sakura's house to see how he's doing. Arriving there, they see a dilapidated building, and Suo thought it looked haunted. From the look of the place, I wouldn't even doubt that original phrase came out of there. They try to ring the doorbell, which doesn't work, but they notice the door is open. Then Suo sees Sakura's sneakers. Figuring he's home, he calls out for him, but no one appears. Nirei tries to hold Suo back, but he just walks right in, saying Sakura lives alone and might be sick. Then Nirei freaks out, imagining the worst, and starts yelling. Sakura immediately appears pissed off and tells him to shut up and asks what they're doing there. Nirei explains they came to visit, and Suo, seeing he's not well, tells him to go back to bed. Bro, he was already in bed. He only came out because this lunatic started yelling in his house. They then notice that Sakura really lives alone and offer him food they brought. They show him the gifts from the group, but Sakura says he just wants to rest and that he won't need any help. Suo then thinks it's better not to insist and suggests they leave, saying Sakura isn't used to visitors. Nirei gets a bit upset, wanting to show that his friends are there for him, since he promised to help Sakura reach the top. But Suo looks at him as if he isn't understanding the situation. Meanwhile, Sakura looks at the gifts and realizes that the gang really cares about him. He then remembers that he spent a lot of his life alone and thinks about the conversation he had with Umemiya, and he keeps wondering why he froze in that fight. In the middle of this, Kotoha appears with food and tells him to eat, and doesn't care what he thinks. He gets a bit embarrassed, but attacks the plate anyway. She says she saw Nirei and Suo, and Nirei was even panicking. Then the guy with a "I don't care about anything, it doesn't matter" attitude just gets a slap from her, and she says everyone is worried about him. Come on, for God's sake, stop being so idiotic. Kotoha thinks the fever came from another fight he had, but Sakura denies it. She asks if he's stressed because he likes his friends, and he gets all embarrassed and red. She reveals that Umemiya told her everything, and says that he can't change the past, but he can count on his friends next time. Sakura insists that he'll do everything alone, so she grabs the food and asks if he knows how to cook. He doesn't even have a stove, so Kotoha explains that she's fine now because his friends brought things, and says that nobody does everything alone, that he has to trust others. But even if it's hard at first, that's what he has to do. The next day, Sakura is better, and goes to talk to Ren about the fight. Ren's colleagues tease him, saying he's taking care of the rookie, and he, already embarrassed and a bit pissed off, tells them to shut up. Bro, if you have friends and they don't tease you at every possible opportunity, they're not your friends. Sakura then confesses that he needs to learn to trust others, and asks how Ren lets his vices do everything. He then buys a coffee for Sakura, and takes him straight to the rooftop, saying it's better to talk in an open place. He explains that he trusts others, because he knows he can't handle everything alone. Sakura then says he can't, because he doesn't want to admit that he's not strong enough. He's acting all tough, you know, man. Ren then swaps the coffee label for green tea, but says the content simply doesn't change, just like Sakura, who pretends to be strong enough, but in reality, he isn't. Ren knows he's afraid of being rejected, remembering how no one liked him before. Sakura then thinks his friends accept him just by being good at fighting, but the truth is he's scared stiff, because if he starts depending on them and the guys leave him behind, don't like him anymore, or start ignoring him, Ren says everyone has already seen him freak out and they're still with him, so it's cool, you know? Ren tells a story about a woman who was on the rooftop, and everyone was terrified of her. She was terrifying. Everyone was scared. But in reality, at the end of the story, it was simply a plastic bag hanging from a broomstick, saying that Sakura is scared for nothing of something that doesn't even exist. He guarantees that his friends won't reject him. Umemiya then appears and praises Ren's advice and teases him, saying he looks like Hiragi, and the kid gets so embarrassed that he punches him in the face and runs away. With his face all messed up, Umemiya tells Sakura that he doesn't need to be afraid, because Furin will forgive any slip-up. He just needs to trust his friends. It's the power of anime friendship in a different way, basically, right? Umemiya is also surprised that Ren is taking care of the rookie, since Hiragi taught him that at the beginning, and he ends up having a bit of a nostalgic moment there, you know? We see Sakura thinking about life, remembering that he always walked a tightrope to be accepted by others, trusting only himself. Everyone avoided him before, but now he thinks he doesn't need to stay in that vibe forever, and that he can grow and find a place where he truly belongs. At school, the gang is talking about Sakura, worried if he'll come back. He appears out of nowhere, and all vibrate. But Ren notices that he's a bit strange, and asks if he's still sick. Sakura hesitates, thinking about Umemiya's talk about not being afraid, and he takes the initiative and opens up. He always thought he could do everything alone, apologizes for freaking out in the fight, and thinks he disappointed everyone as a representative. There's a silence until Kotaro kicks him, saying he was in the way. The group jumps on him, telling him to stop talking nonsense. Anzai even reinforces, saying that he doesn't need to apologize, because they want to repay what Sakura did for them. The guy then, after a million years, realizes that the guys like him as he is, and finally thinks he found his place. Suo notices that he's processing all this, since he's always been alone, and he suggests taking it easy. Anzai proposes that they eat together after class, and the gang starts ordering food. Everyone wants something, and as a representative, Sakura simply chooses an omelet with fried rice. And sure enough, they go to Kotoha's cafe. She gets annoyed seeing a huge crowd entering there, saying that the place isn't a restaurant, but she ends up giving in and makes the omelet anyway. Sakura apologizes for the previous day and promises to return the bowl. She thinks he's strange, but prefers to let it go. No, it's fine. We don't give attention to crazy minds, just let it go. While they eat, this guy suggests that, since Sakura opened up about being weak, everyone should tell a flaw about themselves, you know? He then starts by confessing that he's terrified of insects. Taiga goes next, saying that he's terrified of ghosts, and that he never closes his eyes in the shower. Sakura laughs, and Suo says that everyone has a weakness. Kiryu then asks what his is, and at that moment Suo invents that he fears something called manju, but Nire goes and exposes him, saying that he hates natto. Natto is like a fermented soybean thing, slimy, all weird. Even I would be disgusted and scared of that. Are you crazy? But the guys don't forgive either. Everyone goes after Natto just to tease him, and Suo is in shock, trying to escape at all costs. Sakura smiles at everyone, saying that this is his rare smile, that no one ever sees. Kotoha watches everything there and enjoys the vibe, Umemiya observes from outside, but Hiragi prevents him from entering. Sakura then sees Umemiya leaving with a girl and gets curious. Later on the rooftop, Umemiya gathers the guys to talk and show his plants, which he simply loves to show off to everyone. Then Sakura finds what he thought was the girl, who is actually Tasuku, one of the 4 kings of Furin, and gets startled by his voice and height. He's the famous Travako, right, my dear? Hiragi then tells Sakura not to be rude, and Tasuku introduces himself, saying that he's heard about Sakura because of his moves and likes his look, and the truth is, Sakura doesn't care about how Tasuku dresses, and that's why he thinks Sakura is a cool guy, giving him a tight hug. Then he introduces his vices, who are twin brothers, one named Seiryu and the other named Yuryu. The two then give Sakura a stare, until Tasuku tells them to stop. Umemiya offers a soup he made, and Tasuku praises it, saying that he could easily open a restaurant. He then jokes that he's falling in love, and Sakura blushes. Suo explains that Sakura is super sensitive to gestures and vibes, which makes him blush easily. He thinks it's super cute, and Sakura apologizes, but the vices call him to leave. But just before leaving, Tasuku stares at Sakura and invites him on a date, leaving him completely awkward. Damn, he's chilling. And then this giant guy asks you out. What's the idea, man? But it wasn't that kind of date he was talking about. Sakura and Suo are with Tasuku, and they say they're going to visit a guy named Ito, who is an old man who's been down since he lost his wife. Tasuku wants to cheer up the guy who lives alone. Arriving there, Ito is all cheerful, and the garden is tidy, so the group thinks he's doing pretty well already. Tasuku then presents everyone to the old man, who becomes fixated on Sakura's eyes, saying that they remind him of the sunset he saw with his wife on the beach. But like every good Japanese person, he immediately apologizes for getting nostalgic. Japanese people apologize for this, apologize for that. Everything is an apology. It's just, gomenasai, and let's go. The house is a mess, and Tasuku says that they need to change a light bulb. Nire offers to help, and the gang starts cleaning everything. Sakura then helps carry some boxes to the back room, and he sees some dusty clothes that Ito hadn't worn for centuries. Tasuku then invites Ito to go out, saying that he needs to spruce up his look, and he already remembers a time in the past where he remembers seeing the original phrase with his wife. Ito says that she was super stylish, and that he tried to keep up with her style. He said that he gave her a dress, which wasn't much, but she jazzed it up with accessories and it looked insane. He remembers that he cherished every second he had with her, When it's time to leave, Ito thanks Sakura for reminding him of Yui, but Sakura thinks he didn't do anything special. Tasuku notices that Ito is more animated, but still thinks there's something bothering him and wants to help cheer him up anyway. Sakura asks why Tasuku cares so much about him, and he says he owes a lot to Ito and Yui, because they were the first to accept him as he is. In a flashback, we see Tasuku watching some girls play, and he thinks their toys are cute, but he pretends not to when his friends give him a pamphlet of chaos. But then he sees an ad for accessories on the back of the sheet and freaks out. While he was walking, he found an earring on the ground, and Ito appears saying that it was Yui's. He takes Tasuku to their house, where Yui thanks him for the earring, and Tasuku praises her dress. The old man is happy and invites him to come back anytime to see her clothes. One day when he's there, the old man's wife asks what he thinks of her lipstick, but he hesitates, thinking he shouldn't like it because he's a boy. Then the encouragement is to try it, and Ito thinks it will look good on him. Tasuku cries, happy but confused, just wanting to be normal. But the old man's wife says that men already wore heels and makeup in the past, and Ito tells him not to care too much about what others think, because it will usually change over time. They also reinforce that they love him as he is, and Tasuku cries with relief for finally being accepted by someone. This is a serious matter, not a joke. But man, it must be really bad to be a certain way and people don't accept you, and then you have to hide things. It's like you, who likes anime and tells others you don't, just so you don't seem strange to the group, you know? I won't lie. I did that for a long time, my friend. It's tough. Back to the present. Tasuku says he was afraid of being alone because he was different from others. But the two of them welcomed him, and Nire cries with the story and wants to help figure out what's going on with the old man. Tasuku gets super happy, thinking they're amazing, already scheduling another visit for the next day. When they return, Ito shows a photo album, talking about Yui's clothes, who never looked at the camera, but he thinks it gives a supernatural touch to the photos. Standard influencer photo, right? Taking the photo looking to the side, to the sky, just to seem natural, after already having taken 52 identical photos. Tasuku then asks if there's a photo of the two of them, and Ito shows one in the garden. Sakura gets embarrassed when he sees the photo, and Tasuku teases him, saying that he has a certain romantic sensor and that it went off. Sakura says that the photo conveys a certain happiness, and that her pose reminds him of when Tasuku watches Umamiya. It's exactly what Yui is looking at there. Tasuku blushes, and confesses that he simply loves Umamiya, as if the guys didn't already know. Right, my dear. Ito starts crying because he said his marriage was arranged, and he never talked about his feelings with her, so he didn't know if she was really happy with him. Suo asked about the tree in the photo, which is also the only one that blooms in the garden. Suo then explains that gardening is his hobby, but that Yui planted that tree, and that she insisted that they take the photo together. He then remembers that he saw her sewing a flower on her hat, and says that he liked her focused on fashion, and that he also tried his best to be stylish to get her attention. And for him, he thought she simply planted that tree out of nowhere. But Sue explains that that tree is a dogwood, which symbolizes eternity and love blooming, suggesting that this is her way of showing that she liked him. The crew confirms that Yui really loved him, and Sakura says she looks super happy in the picture. Ito realizes she's always had feelings for him, and he's blown away that he never noticed it before. Honestly, I think you were just slow, bro. But hey, who am I to judge, right? And that wraps up another part of Windbreaker Season 2. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Check out this video right here. I'm out for now, and peace out, my dude. See you in the next anime.